managed to corner Brian here from Gearbox, and he's got a little friend on over his shoulder right there. You can see, yeah, someone is breaking into the Sega booth here, and Alien Colonial Marines was first announced quite a while back, and then things happened, and there was another Alien versus Predator game coming out, and they didn't want Colonial Marines too close to that. But what does that allow you to sort of step back a little bit and look at the game development? What did it allow you?
Yeah, absolutely. It let us really kind of look at what we wanted to do with the game, but also really look at what we're going to do with the engine. And so we were able to do a really excellent deferred lighting solution, so that really allows us to have those awesome shadows, really get that sort of real Aliens feel that you expect from the movie, kind of that Cameron-esque look. And so we really spent a lot of time working on the engine. It's UE3, but we worked on the render, and so we're able to get a lot of really cool ambient light, reflected bounce light, which is kind of rare for a deferred render. So it's been a lot of work, but it's been worth it. And then in addition to that, all the kind of gameplay things, working on the AI with the aliens, working with the AI of the Colonial Marine buddies, and just really rounding out all of the full Alien experience that you want.
Yeah. You did mention Cameron there, yeah. And of course, is it a pure Aliens game, or have you looked at other parts of the franchise as well?
We've looked at all three of the movies that we really consider part of the canon that we can really talk about, because Alien Resurrection was, hundreds of years in the future, so it really doesn't count for us. But what we've done is Fox has asked us, and we worked very closely with Fox to stay true to the canon of the films. And so they wanted us to take place after Alien 3, which has been good because there's a lot of things that we were able to kind of take from there with like the Weyland-Yutani Corporation influence that was in that movie, as well as making what we think of as the true sequel to Aliens. So we're finally getting, for the customers, being able to get into the boots of the Colonial Marines, be able to see these guys and be them this time, right? And finally do that as just a Colonial Marines game, not mixing in like some Predators, not mixing in some Alien experiences, a full, game of nothing but these guys, the true original Space Marines, if you will,
That's truly what they are. They're original Space Marines, any broad shoulder sci-fi marine sense sort of builds on what was in Aliens.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, for us, we feel really privileged to be playing with the original sort of Space Marines, if you will. And yeah, things like Halo, things like, obviously even Call of Duty has moments where they're influenced by the movie, right? Everybody in the industry has been influenced by these guys, from sci-fi designs to whatever. And that's awesome. So for us, this was a dream come true to be able to play in this world, and then to flesh it out more, to be able to deal with like aliens in the hive and figure out what we're going to do with those guys, and just in general, just be able to make a more consistent universe so that Sega and Fox can be really proud of it.
So aliens are a really interesting enemy, but you want to have a lot of variation and mix things up in a video game, because otherwise people you want to feel that progression. You want to have different enemies and different pace and different styles. So how do you sort of achieve that?
Yeah, what you want to do is, this is an interactive experience, so you need to have something where you have different types of enemies, you have different types of challenges with each one. So you have to think about, what weapon am I going to use on this type of alien or that type of alien. So as you saw in the demo, there's what we call the Crusher. He's a big guy, he's really hard to take on from the front. So he's great when you can play with your friends or even by yourself. If you can work your way around that guy or use the environment against him, then that works out really well. So that's just some of the examples of different types of aliens that will be in the universe.
And of course you touched there on the different kinds of weapons you have. So what kind of different kind of weapons do you have, and sort of, is it, because I felt that in Aliens it was sort of firmly grounded into what sort of, upgraded from what we know, but still sort of grounded in sort of real world weapons.
Well, I think we have to expand upon what Cameron was doing. I think that at the time in the 80s when he was doing this, there wasn't as much of the sort of M4 style weapon that has, the rail on the top that you can go ahead and put on, a scope and things like that. That wasn't quite as prevalent, I think, as it is, today. A lot of people know it because of all the shooters and all those kind of games. Then they expect that kind of thing. So you need to have some progression and growth with the weapons. So that's one of the things that we're dealing with, is not only are we fleshing out the whole sort of weapon, all of the weapons that they have in their armory, right? but we're also dealing with things like, okay, so I'm going to put a scope on the top, or I'm going to have iron sights, or I'm not going to have them, right? I'm going to shoot a lot more from the hip, or am I going to have, an under shotgun versus an under grenade launcher, or whatever that is. So we've expanded on that a lot, and we think that that's really cool for people to both, to be able to find those weapons and feel really comfortable in something that is, changed for the generations that have come since, obviously 1986.
So in terms of a multiplayer, what have you sort of looked at there, and what are you considering there?
Yeah, we're not talking a lot about multiplayer now. We want to release a lot of that later. But what we are talking about is that this is what you would expect from an Aliens Colonial Marine. So I think if you use a little bit of imagination, you can kind of figure out what we probably will be presenting in multiplayer. And I can guarantee it will be a true Aliens experience.
I think something that comes to mind is survive.
Sure, surviving, all kinds of things. Sure.
So you talked a little bit about the fact that you actually got to do a little bit of a pause and reflect on development early on. What kind of stuff have you left to do, and sort of where are you at right now?
Yeah, now we're just really finishing the game. This is the part that's probably some of the most fun. Besides pre-production, which is always pie in the sky, super crazy stuff. But now we're getting down to the brass tacks and really working on level by level, area by area. What is the real experience that the player is going to have? And it's awesome, right? I mean, now we're really able to finish this out and get it into people's hands, and so they're going to see it in 2012.
I think fans who follow Gearbox, they're sort of a little bit, maybe taken aback by the amount of huge projects that you have in line right now that sort of looking for release in 2012 or wherever. You're showing Borderlands 2 here first time, and you've got obviously Aliens Colonial Marines, and you got the next Brothers in Arms as well that's been announced. We haven't seen that much from it, but can you just give us an insight on sort of what that's like, and the size of Gearbox today, and how you manage 3 such big projects, and maybe even some more?
Well, we're a 200-person team, and we also work with a couple of other developers that help us, augment some of our own production. And so we're able to really do something that's a lot larger than what our company is as a whole. But what that allows us to do is really concentrate on these games, make them amazing, and we just have a great staff. I mean, of really talented people that are dedicated and really love making games. And these are great experiences, right? I mean, from whether it's the Furious 4 that you were mentioning, from the Brothers in Arms series, or whether it is something like, Aliens Colonial Marines, which is, finally playing in this universe, or Borderlands. I mean, all of this stuff is just a dream come true for pretty much any developer, right? So they're all, fun, good co-op games, and we're leveraging a lot of that experience. So we're able to kind of take things that we've learned from the past in Borderlands, apply that to a lot of our games, and be able to kind of stretch it out and be able to make our production pretty good. It's just an exciting time for Gearbox, frankly.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, sure, man.
Thank you.
Talking with you.